Hello, good morning. Edgardo Sambo here once again. And this time we are now on episode number 23. And the topic for today will be the question that goes this way: where was God before He created the heavens and the earth? Would you like to rethink about this question before you view this video? Do you have a ready answer for this? Any takers? Anyway, to answer this question, I'm going to start in the book of Proverbs, chapter 8, verses 22 up to verse 31. Let me read the Bible, please. The Lord brought me forth as the first of His works, before His deeds of old. I was appointed from eternity, from the beginning, before the world began. When there were no oceans, I was given birth. When there were no springs abounding with water, before the mountains were settled in place, before the hills, I was given birth. Before He made the earth or its fields or any of the dust of the world, I was there. When He set the heavens in place, when He marked out the horizon on the face of the deep, when He gave the sea its boundary, so the waters would not overstep His command. And when He marked out the foundations of the earth, then I was the craftsman at His side. I was filled with delight day after day, rejoicing always in His presence, rejoicing in His whole world, and delighting in mankind. In this book of Proverbs, chapter 8, verses 22 to 31, it was the Son of God here that was speaking, and the Son of God was describing that before the foundations of the earth, that before the heavens and the earth were created, the Son of God was already existing beside His Father, which we called in the Bible as God the Father. So it is very clear then that before the heavens and the earth were created, God the Father, together with His Son, which we called in the Bible as the Son of God, they were already in existence even before the creations of the heavens and the earth. And in these verses, the Son of God was describing how the universe and the earth were created, and how He rejoiced together with God the Father. Now let me read once more verse 32 of Proverbs chapter 8, which says, it is verse 30 to 31, which says, Then I was the craftsman at His side, I was filled with delight day after day, rejoicing always in His presence, rejoicing in His whole world, and delighting in mankind. Please take note of this verse. Rejoicing in His whole world. The word His here refers to God the Father. Let us try to substitute the words God the Father to this word His. Rejoicing in His whole world, or rejoicing in God the Father's whole world. It is very clear then that before God the Father had created the heavens and the earth, God the Father was already existing. But at that point in time, the heavens and the earth, the universe, were not yet in existence. So the question is, where was God the Father before He created the heavens and the earth? Or where was God the Father before He created the universe? Some pastors would answer me that, Brother Ed, that question is a very simple question. And the answer is already known by many people. Because the answer is, before God the Father created the heavens and the earth, God the Father was in heaven. That was what they said. Before God the Father created the heavens and the earth, God the Father was already existing in heaven. The answer is totally wrong. The answer is totally erroneous. Because how can God the Father be in heaven when that moment in time the heavens and the earth were not yet even in existence? It was not created yet. So how can God the Father be in heaven? So that answer is very erroneous. Before the creation of the heavens and the earth, God the Father and His Son, the Son of God, were already in existence. And where were they at that point in time, before they created the heavens and the earth? The Bible says in verse 31, rejoicing in His whole world and delighting in mankind. The Son of God at that point in time was rejoicing in the earth of God the Father. The Son of God in that point in time was rejoicing in the world of God the Father. And this happened before God the Father and the Son of God created the heavens and the earth. It is very simple then that excuse me. It is very simple then that before God the Father had created the heavens and the earth, God the Father and His Son, the Son of God, had been residing in the earth or in the world of God the Father. That means to say, before the creation of the universe, there was another creation. And what was created at that point in time? It was the world, the earth, that God the Father and the Son of God were residing. Although the Bible did not state whether that earth or whether that world is a spiritual earth or a spiritual world or a physical world or a physical earth. But the answer on verse 31 is very clear. The Son of God was rejoicing in the world or in the earth of God the Father. And when the Son of God had talked about this, the universe, the heavens and the earth were not yet in existence. Because if the world and the universe or the heavens were not yet in existence, and the one who created the heavens and the earth was God the Father, therefore God the Father would be somewhere. He would be somewhere in a place before He created the heavens and the earth. And where was that somewhere? That somewhere was in His own world, in His own earth. It is very simple then, my fellow Bible-believing Christians, that before God the Father had created the heavens and the earth, the place where God the Father was in existence was in His own world or in His own earth. Now perhaps you would say that in the book of Proverbs chapter 8 verses 1, that it was not the Son of God that was speaking here, because on the book of Proverbs chapter 8 verse 1 it says, "Does not wisdom call out? Does not understanding raise her voice? On the heights along the way, where the paths meet, she takes stand." One thing sure, your question would be, how can the Son of God, who is a male, be speaking on that book, the book of Proverbs chapter 8, verse 1 and so forth, when it says on verse 1, 2, and 3, that speaker was being addressed as a her, a feminine pronoun, but the Son of God was a male. How can that be? So you would say that it was not the Son of God who was speaking on these verses, because what was being described as the speaker was a female. Let me answer that question. In the Bible, when inanimate objects or objects which does not have life, or what we call non-living objects, those are called inanimate objects. The pronoun female is being used for this. Wisdom is an inanimate object. So, the pronoun female was used. The word was her. The word his was not used. I will repeat. This word wisdom, which says on verse 1, does not wisdom called out. Take note that the word wisdom is an inanimate object in which the pronoun female is being used. And that pronoun was the word her, not the word his. Just to add another example, Jesus Christ was a male. Very clear. Jesus Christ was a male. But the word Petra in the Greek language was used to describe Jesus Christ. Petra is a Greek word which means in English a rock, a big rock. Now Petra in a Greek word is a female. How can that be? How can the word Petra, which is a female, because it ends on letter A, Petra, a big rock, and this big rock or Petra in the Greek language was being used to describe Jesus Christ. How can that be? Petra, a female word, was being described Jesus Christ, a male. It's the same thing as the word wisdom. In the word wisdom, a female pronouns was used, her. Then this word her was being referred to the Son of God, which was a male. I think I had made myself clear that there's no point in argumentation if you are going to argue with me that the word wisdom, which was described on verse 1, Proverbs 8, was a female, and it is not the Son of God. I had used another example, Petra, or a big rock, which describes Jesus Christ. Do you mean to say that that big rock, Petra, is not Jesus Christ? Because Petra is a female word? No! It does not matter whether it is female or male, that the pronouns that were used. The point is, inanimate objects are being used with a female pronoun. And it is very sure that the entirety, speaking here on Proverbs 8, verses 22 to 31, was the Son of God in his spiritual form. Just to expound on this subject matter longer, I would like to remind you that God the Father had his own Son in the spiritual entity. God the Father, own Son, could be described on Proverbs 30. And let me read it to you. It says here, who has gone up to heaven and come down, who has gathered up the wind in the hollow of his hands, who has wrapped up the waters in his cloak, who has established all the ends of the earth. What is his name and the name of his Son? Tell me if you know. The writer of this, Proverbs 30, verses 4, was stating and asking what was the name of God the Father and what was the name of his Son. Therefore, we could conclude that God the Father, who is in the spiritual form, has his own Son. It says here, what is his name? It means what is the name of God the Father and the name of his Son. It is very clear then that God the Father has his own spiritual Son. And this spiritual Son in John 1:14, which was called the Word, on John 1:1 to 3, this Word was the spiritual Son of God the Father, and this Word had manifested himself in the flesh. That entity in the flesh was the Son of Mary, the wife of Joseph. But that Word, which was the Son of God, who manifested in the flesh, was the Son of God the Father. And this Son of God the Father, in the book of Proverbs chapter 8, verses 22 to 31, this was the Son of God describing the creation of the heavens and the earth, describing the creation of the universe. It was the Son of God speaking before the universe was created, before the heavens and the earth were created. It was the Son of God who was speaking there. That means to say, before the heavens and the earth were created, the creators, God the Father and his Son, the Son of God, were already in existence. And the question is, when they were in existence, where were they? There has to be a place. That place would be the word somewhere. And that word somewhere refers to the earth or to the world, which was the residence of God the Father and the residence of the Son of God. So if the question is, where was God the Father and the Son of God, where were they before they created the heavens and the earth? The answer is very simple. God the Father and the Son of God have their own earth. They have their own world. And of course, this earth or this world is not the earth which humans are living. The earth which humans are living on is not the earth that was being mentioned, that the earth of God the Father or the world of God the Father. These are two different places. The earth only came into existence when God the Father created the heavens and the earth. But the earth and all the world which God the Father was residing into, this was created even before the creations of the heavens and the earth, or the creation of the universe. So if I may say, my fellow Bible-believing Christians, my video is almost coming to an end. So I'm wishing you a good day, and I will be broadcasting once more after 2 weeks, and I hope you'll be there. Thank you very much for listening, and may God be with us all.